Hello students, today I am going to explain about the full bridge voltage source inverter with RL load. So in case of full bridge, we are having 4 thyristors which are acting as switches and 4 diodes. So there are thyristors T1, T2, T3 and T4, diodes D1, D2, D3 and D4. So we have to assume that when T1, T2 is conducting, T3, T4 is off. Similarly, when T3, T4 is conducting, T1, T2 is off. So at a particular time, only 2 thyristors will conduct and the other 2 thyristors will be turned off. So we are going to discuss about 4 modes of operation. First mode is from T1 to T by 2. Second mode is from T by 2 to T2, and third one is T2 to 3T by 2, and fourth one is 3T by 2 to T3. Okay, so let us start. So I am discussing about mode 1 operation when time is from T1 to T by 2. So at this time T1 to T by 2, my T1 and T2 thyristors are turned on, and at that point of time T3, T4 are turned off. So what happens here, I am applying a voltage of VS, then current will flow from VS to T1 through load, then T2, then to source. So the current direction will be from A to B. From A to B. So my I0 is from A to B, and as T1 is connected to VS, the positive plate of VS, so A point is connected to positive plate and B point is connected to, as T2 is connected to negative plate, so it will be minus. So my V0 will be plus VS. So I can see I0 is flowing from A to B, which is gradually increasing because of this inductive property, and V0 is plus Vs. So we see from T1 to T by 2, my voltage is plus Vs, this one plus Vs, and current is increasing. Okay, then when current is flowing from A to B, this inductor is having a property which is opposing the changes in current. So what will happen, there will be an self-induced EMF will be produced across this inductor, which is exactly opposite to this voltage plus or minus. So to the current direction it is opposite, so it will be minus plus VL. So now this plus sign will forward bias this D3, and this minus sign will forward bias this D4. So now my current will be flowing from load to D3, then to VS, then to D4, then to load. Okay, so now whatever the energy stored inside the inductor, now that will be released to the source, but the current direction is from A to B. Okay, and what happens to the terminals A and B? What happens? Now this diode is connected to positive, that means this B point is connected to positive terminal, and this diode D4 is connected to VS negative terminal. So this will be minus, A will be minus. So A is negative with respect to B. That means my output voltage will be minus V0. Or minus V0 means what? Output is negative. So I am getting from T2, T by 2 to T2, while diode D3 and D4 are conducting, my voltage is minus Vs, the output voltage is minus Vs. And what happens to current? As the stored energy inside the inductor is now gradually exponentially decaying, so current will decay up to what? Up to 0. So it will decay up to 0. Okay. So my mode 2 operation is, that is T between T2 to T by 2. Okay, T lies between T by 2 to T2. Then what happens here? I0 is decaying to 0 and my source voltage and my output voltage will be negative of the source voltage. Okay, then coming to the mode 3 operation. Mode 3 operation, that is T lies between T is greater than T2 and less than 3T by 2. Okay. So at this point of time, we can see when diode D3, D4 was conducting, by that time my T1, T2 was off and T3, T4 was triggered. Okay, it was on. So when current goes to 0, and that point of time T3, by that point of time T3 and T4 is already on. Okay, so when T3 and T4 is conducting, T3 and T4 is conducting, then current will flow from VS to T3, then from B to A, then to T4, then back to VS. Okay, so my current direction will be from B to A. So I0 is flowing from B to A, and this T3 is connected to positive terminal of VS. So my B terminal will be positive, and this T4 is connected to negative terminal of VS. So A is connected to negative. That means A is negative with respect to B point. So what about my output voltage? Output voltage will be negative. Okay, that is minus Vs. So from T2 to 3T by 2, the output voltage is negative. And what happens to current? Current is increasing but in the negative direction. Okay, it flows from B to A. And by that time this inductor is storing the charge, but the self-induced EMF across this inductor will be opposite to current. That means plus minus VL. Okay, now this plus minus, this minus sign will forward bias this D2 and this plus will forward bias this D1. So in my mode 4, in mode 4, D2 and D1 is now conducting. So what about the current? How the current will flow? Current will flow from load to D1 back to source, then to D2, then to load. Okay, so current will be flowing from D2 to load to D1 to VS to D2. So in this path the current will flow. So current direction is again from B to A, that is I0 is from B to A. Okay, I0 is B to A, but this current is decaying to 0 because this inductor is now discharging the stored energy. Okay, so the current in this period of time, it is decaying to 0. What about the voltage? Now this D2 is connected to minus Vs and D2 point means this P point, so this will be minus, and this D1 is connected to positive terminal of Vs, so it will be plus. That means the output voltage is plus minus V0. Okay, that means the output voltage is positive, or you can say this is positive Vs. So from 3T by 2 to T3, the output voltage is positive voltage Vs and the current is now decaying to 0. Okay, so all these 4 modes of operations are discussed here. This mode 4 is consisting, the time taken is between T3 time period is between 3T/2 to T3. Okay, so this is all about the full bridge VSI with RL load. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.